Hey everyone, it's Daphne. We're going to get started on page 1 of Graphic 45, Life is a Journey. Again, this is the 8.5 by 8.5 mini album. It's got 4 pocket pages, and if you go to the playlist for Life is a Journey, you'll see the walkthrough. The second video is going to be the base album build, which actually says 8.5 by 8.5, and that is the album that you'll be building. Everything that you see here is based on that album. So here is my pocket page, page 1. I noted that it's page 1. I also put an S over here by the spine so that I can keep track of which side the spine is on and which side the pocket's going to be on, because I want some of my flaps to operate away from the spine and others toward the spine. So it's always a good idea to just make a little note there. Okay, with that, I'm going to go ahead and sit down and get started. I'm excited. I've already got a couple things done today, but trying to make some more progress. Okay, let's go ahead and start by telling you what we're doing. So we're going to have a small pocket. It's going to be on the spine side. We have a large flap that's going on the outside of the book or the pocket side. And then there is one more flap. Oops, and I forgot to put tape on it. There's going to be one more flap, and it's actually going to be installed on the same size as the pocket. And the hinge will be actually underneath the pocket. And when it's all finished, this will close. You have your pocket, and then this flap is going to hold everything together. Sorry about that. I'm having a hard time with the weather and my allergies. So with that, let's go ahead and get started by laying down just the straightforward one here. And I realize I got in here without my pick tool, and I'm gonna just use my fingernails because they're a tool also. Not my favorite tool though. Okay, so this is gonna go again on the pocket side, and let me tell you the measurements for this. This is 6.5 by 8. 6.5 by 8, and you're gonna score a 1/2 inch. So when you're finished, you've got a 6 by 8 finished panel. Again, this is the pocket side, the spine side. And I'm just putting this on the edge. There we go. So there's our first installation. And I'm just checking to make sure everything is square and nothing is hanging off the edges. And I'm pretty happy with that. Especially since I broke a rule and didn't dry fit first. Okay, so the next thing is going to be this little pocket. And this pocket is 2 5/8 by 9. And you're gonna score a 1/2 inch on 3 sides. And then you will be finished. You'll have a finished 2 1/8 inch pocket, like so. And I did that, the 2 1/8 is just slightly larger than the space because I wanted this flap to go right over it and not get stuck inside the pocket. So it's only 1/8 of an inch longer than the space that I had here. You, of course, could make it deeper if you wanted, but I'm going to show you why I did that when I lay down the designer papers. Okay? So again, one more time. 2 5/8 by 9. 2 5/8 by 9. And I don't know how long I'm going to last without my pick tool. It didn't take me any time at all to get fed up with it, trying to peel it off with my nails. Okay, there we go. Now this is the spine side. I'm just turning it toward me so I can see 3 of the 4 sides to try to get this in straight. I'm going to press one corner down and hold the other edges up while I pivot it into place. There we go. Okay, there's my pocket. I'll just demonstrate that real quick for you. Oh, you know what I just did? I blew it. I guess I can do it this way. This flap needs to be, it could have been installed underneath the pocket, but I'm actually going to install it on top of the pocket because there's going to be a mat that goes over it anyway. But you could do it the other way if you like. That was actually my original plan, but I don't think it matters much. This flap that I'm doing right now was kind of a, boy, I'm really not prepared. I don't have my tape tear tool either. A last minute decision to add. Okay, so like I said, you could have installed this first and then put the pocket over it, but I'm going to do it this way. Actually, I think I kind of like it better this way, and here's why. This hinge would be under there and another hinge would be under there, and when you go to put things in the pocket, it might get stuck on it because it would be taller. Instead of going all around the hinge like so, it might just run into it and get stuck because it would be too. So let me tell you the measurements for this. This is 5 1/8, 5 1/8 by 6 3/8, 5 1/8 by 6 3/8. And then you're going to score a 1/2 inch on the 5 1/8 inch side. And then we're going to apply this directly to the edge, centered. And I'm not marking it, I'm eyeballing it. There we go. Okay, so that's in. Okay, it's going to close like so. So it's pretty straightforward. Now I'm going to show you what the papers are going to look like. And then I'm going to take a break because I got in here without my magnets. So this is going to go here. This stripe is going to go here. I've got this for this side. We're going to pull the stripes back in here. And this is actually going to go on the cover of this flap. And then I've cut out these 4 pieces. And I'm going to do like a mosaic right here of these 4. So that's what this spread's going to look like when I'm done. But like I said, I got in here without my magnet, so I need to go get those in order to plan the magnet placement before I put my mats down. So I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I'm back, and I want to give you a heads up. These are not trimmed down to size, so we are going to do a little bit of trimming after I get the big pieces in and set the magnets. So I'm just giving you a heads up. Okay, so the way this is all going to close is, whoops, sorry about that, is like so. So I want the magnet on the inside here, and then there's going to be a magnet on this side. So I'm getting my fat tape ready. And it's not a requirement, but I like to put it over the magnet for a couple reasons. One, when you put glue on top of the magnet, it doesn't really want to dry. So there's some issue once you put your mat down that it may not stick the way you want it to. But it'll also soften the edge of the magnet. So, and I hate these. I have such a hard time getting the back off these because the tool I want to use is magnetized. So a lot of times you guys don't see me do this, but I do it offline and get them all ready so that you don't have to watch me fight with these magnets. Okay, so I want this to go about here, I think. And then it's going to come across to this side. And close like so. All right, so there is the magnet placement. Okay, so now I don't have to worry about accidentally putting my paper down, which, as you know, I've been known to do. I'm going to set all these loose pieces aside. And we're going to focus on getting in this cover, which I'm dry fitting. And then we are going to cover this flap and come back to the inside because it'll take the most time since I have to do some trimming as we go. Okay, so I'm looking for this even border, and I'm really happy with the way that trimmed out, so I'm ready for my glue. And I'm going to burnish that in place. While I was gone, I went and got all the rest of my tools. This is the challenge. Oops, my cap came off. It's time. I'm almost out of glue, and it's time for me to clean my cap, and you guys have seen that process. I've got a quick video on it, but it's about time for me to do that. That's why this kept following the cap. And by the way, for our new subscribers, this glue tip is available in our shop, and I love it. I used to always lose my pens, and that was frustrating to me, and then I'd wind up putting another straight pin in it that would not be stainless, so it would rust and discolor my glue. So I've had this cap for going on about a year, and the one I had before, it lasted about a year, and that was before I started taking care of them. So my expectation is this is going to continue to last, and for the price, it's a worthwhile. It really reduces my frustration in trying to track down my pins. And it doesn't clog. It really doesn't. And basically what I do is when I run out of a bottle, and this is a 4-ounce bottle, then before I put the cap on a new bottle, I clean my cap. And that's my ongoing process now, that if I'm changing the glue out, actually I want to go this way, it's time to go ahead and clean the cap. All right, that is looking very good. I'm very happy with that. She's so pretty. Oh, for a limited time, or at least until we run out of these charms. We have a charm with this style of dog, and it's so cute. I don't have it in the room with me, but I'm definitely going to be using that charm in this album. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get this piece in. So this is just going to be a purple, and I told you guys in the first video that I was trying to avoid the purple just because it's not my favorite, but I'm going to go ahead and lay this on so it really tones that down quite a bit. Okay, so I didn't do it on camera, but I did go ahead and ink all my edges, and again I'm using what's called mahogany, and I'm really liking it. And hopefully we'll get through page 1 before I have to get a new glue bottle. Art Glitter Glue came out with a new 4-ounce format, so it's a long, thin bottle, more like the 2-ounce bottle. It's much easier to hold. So it's been pretty popular, but this fat style is going away, which I won't miss it when it's gone. I like the 4-ounce because I need a lot of glue. I didn't like the format because it's not as easy to hold, so I'm anxious to start to move over to the new format. Okay, so that's in. And then this is just a mat that we're going to put this untrimmed ephemera journaling card on. So it's going to go just like so. And this is just going to get adhered directly to this panel. So I just wanted a nice purple border around it. I'd like to welcome all our new subscribers. Yay! We're getting more subscribers. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. This is our Scrap and Create channel, where you can find all the tutorials for our projects in the playlist. They're there for you to use and enjoy and share. They are free. They will continue to be free. They'll always be out there. I have no plan and then do not anticipate removing any of those videos. So if you start a project, that video will be there for you to reference until you're done with your project. So please share that with friends that you know are into mini album making. And if, like I said, if you go to the playlist, you'll see all of our projects, and they're grouped by the title of the paper. And if you select View All Videos, you will see all the tutorials for a given project co-located. So that helps it. That makes it easy for you to find the next video in the sequence of the tutorial. Okay. And I like to think that the longer I do this, the better my videos are. So you have to apologize. Some of the older projects aren't quite as organized. I kind of learned some stuff along the way. All right, so now we're ready to do the inside. Let's go ahead and lay down the pocket liner. And I'm going to look at this for a second and decide which way I want the stripes. And I think I liked it the first way with this bold red line. And you're probably not going to be trimmed at exactly the same size, but you'll just want to look at it both ways and see what looks best. This stripe pattern that I'm pulling in is from the 8x8 collection pack. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. This is 12x12. This is from the 8x8. Of course, this is ephemera, and then the purple is from the 12x12 patterns and solids. And I'll try to keep remembering to share that with you guys so you know which pack you're pulling the paper from. And only if you want to make it exactly like what I've done. If you want to do some variation, then of course it doesn't really matter. Okay, so patterns and solids. That's going to go right here. And then we're going to add this paper, and then we're going to do the blocking in here. Come on. There we go. Turn it so I can see what I'm doing, and this has orientation, so I just want to make sure I've got it right side up, and I do. All right, that's in. Okay, the next large panel is going to go here. As you can see, I'm kind of alternating the pattern. So here, I told you I was going to tell you why I did this. So originally I planned this piece to go on the inside, just as a solid piece like so. And then I decided that was too much stripe. It was just kind of overwhelming. So it was already trimmed down to be 8x8. So then I decided, well, if I put a 2-inch pocket in here and split this off, it would still be big enough to go over here, and then I could put an alternating pattern here. So that's kind of how I came up with that, and that's why that is 2 inches wide, because it came from that 8-inch panel that I had originally planned. So rather than have it go to waste, I split it 2x6, and now this piece will cover the inside of this flap perfectly, and I had enough for a pocket. So that was my design process. For anybody who's trying to figure out what my planning process was. Now, because this fits exactly and doesn't overlap, I can't put a magnet here to hold this flap down, which is why I introduced the next flap here. Typically when I have a flap, I want it to come further over to the pocket so that I can apply a magnet to this flap and to the top of the pocket. You don't want your magnet here because you're going to stuff a bunch of stuff inside this pocket, and it's going to be so thick that the magnet won't adhere. So you want it to reach across the pocket or introduce another flap. So that's another design tip. And I'll try to share those as I go. Sometimes I forget. It depends on when I designed the book and when I'm actually videotaping, because sometimes weeks can go by and I can't remember why I did something. Hey, sorry about that. My sister just called me. We're getting ready to go out and do something, but I'm going to finish this page before I take off. And here is the current plan. So it's going to lay out just like so. So here's what I'm planning to do. These will each need to be trimmed out to fit perfectly. And I'm going to lay these two down first. And then I want a little excess on this side because I really want it to slip slightly inside the pocket, just like so. So I'm going to wind up with a nice black line between each of these pieces. But that means I have to do a little bit of trimming. Let's see. And first we're going to start by trimming the middle piece. So I need to figure out how much needs to come off each of these so we have a nice perfect gap here. Now, if this is too tedious for you, I can appreciate that. There's two things that you can do. One, you can put a solid panel here. And of course you've got lots of colors to choose from because we use the stripe. You can put a solid panel here, or you can, and I've shown you how to do this on the cover, put tape behind all of these, make a single panel, and trim it down to fit so that it's acting like a single piece of paper. Now the last thing you can do, and I've just recently seen a scrapper do this, and I don't remember who did it. She had glued all these pieces together, but she wanted it to look like it was pieced. So she took a very thin 1/8 inch piece of black paper and ran it up and down and side to side. And it gives you that the effect of the color blocking like I like to do. And it's a lot less tedious. So it's entirely up to you. Not everybody's trimmer will trim a thin piece like that. So it was just something I had recently seen, and I thought, hey, that's a pretty good idea. You could probably save a little bit of frustration and time if you did that. So, okay, so it looks like, I think these are measured out at 7/8. So it looks like I need to take a 1/16 inch off both of these. So I'm going to do that, and I'm stacking them to trim them together. And then I'm going to lay them down and see what it looks like. Okay. So let's see if that was enough. Nope, it needed to be an 1/8. So I had started with 4 inch, so it really needs to be an 1/8 inch off. So 3 7/8 is the height. 3 7/8 is the height. I'm double checking. And of course, the more pieces you have, the harder it is to get that uniformity. But when you're done, it really looks pretty. Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'm going to trim these down to 3 7/8. 3 7/8 this way. And then I'm going to leave this width alone. I may adjust the width here. Not sure. So my recommendation is to stack and trim together, and that way you know you've got a continuous line. And that looks like it's going to work for me. So what I'm going to do first is lay down the outside, and then I'm going to take these two and slide them slightly into the pocket when I lay them down. So I'm going to turn this around and look for my placement. And that looks good. Yay. Okay. You know what? Because I trimmed, I need to ink one of these edges. So it's 3 7/8 inch high. And just so you know, these are 3 inches across. That is not going to be in the cut list. So if you guys want details on how I'm trimming out the designer paper, you really need to watch the video and watch my process, because honestly, I think if I tried to give you a cut list for this, you'd be unhappy. You really need to check it against your album for any variations with the pocket or the panel size. All right. I'm not going to burnish this into place. I'm going to leave it lightly there and try to get this in before it dries so I can tweak them if I need to. And I just realized I put that in upside down because it is directional. Or did I? No, I didn't. I had it right. I'm looking at the panel across from it. Yeah, that's the right direction. Okay. This is directional too, so I'm just trying to make sure I don't put these in upside down. There we go. There it is. So I just kind of tacked down this side, and then I wanted to make sure this was staying nice and even before I pressed everything into place. And again, I can appreciate it if you guys don't want to work, do the piecing. It is tedious. You can do one contrasting panel here, or marry these up with tape and then treat it as a single piece and trim it down to size. All right, so those two were the hardest ones to put in. Everything else is going to get measured off what's already down. So there's some consolation. So I'm just making sure I've got everything going the right direction. There we go, and it's slightly into the pocket, which is nice. And here's our last piece. That's just about it for the glue, which is good timing because this is my last piece. Okay, making sure my flowers are going the right direction. They are. Slipping it slightly into the pocket, looking for this continuous line here and here, and as you can see, we collectively did a good job. I'm very happy with the way that looks. A little bit of effort, but it's very beautiful. Now each one of these you could easily put a 3x3, or you know, you could put a small photo on each one of these blocks, or you could, you know, let me trim out a piece of paper and give you guys an example. Let's go ahead and do a 4x6. Or you could do a 4x6 and you see the pattern behind it. It's very pretty. A 5x7 would fit here as well. Or leave it just for its beauty and put all your photos into the pocket, like so. I'm very happy with the way this came out. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This is it in the closed position. So this is the completion of page 1. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Please take a minute to like, subscribe, and share. Sharing really matters. We're not that big. I mean, we do have a few subscribers, but we're not that big. And the more you share, the more YouTube will make us a recommendation for other scrappers in this space. So take a minute, share, and subscribe. And if you hit the bell, you'll be notified every time we have new content. So thanks again for tuning in. This is Daphne from Scrap and Create. I'll be back soon with page 2.